Welcome, Web3 media friends, to another bit of a, not an overtime show, but a little sort of interlude as I wait for my Kagami Mirror redemption period for those of us who are 10K TF. Just hanging out, and I'm going to put it in a very ostentatious setting, just like right behind me once I receive it. For those of you who don't know, that's the project that Beeple and Gaio Siri and Gucci have collaborated on. To create, this world of physicals for other PFPs, and in this sort of interesting world of PFP service industry in a sense, where you can create wearables and tools for this particular story. But I think now it's working its way into the space that we obsess a lot about, which is sort of the metaverse build out area where we can take our 3D avatars and play. But today we're going to talk about things that are going on now, live, happening right now. I do this live, so please like, subscribe, hit the bell notification, because this is what I do. I do this stuff live, with my metaverse correspondents, all live. They're not. They're all just sort of at the push of a button, and I tap in here to the metaverse and we find them. But today we're going to be talking about this collab between Warner Records and OpenSea, and then their expression of it in Web3. And so it's a very interesting collaboration. And since this is live, we're Sound, one of the projects I'm in, is currently on the front page of OpenSea. And so we can see, there it is, Sound Origin. And I'm working really hard. That's why you see me a little less these days, as we're working on not just a music NFT, but a platform. And I think that that's part of the discussion today is, why music NFTs just aren't hitting the way that we had hoped. I mean, even from, when we were collecting, Snoop Dogg mixtapes together, like as it was happening live that night that Snoop got, well, he gets high every night, but wanted to say, I just started dropping tracks. And so we were right there live for that, and the floor price of those hasn't gone up, or the value of it hasn't really gone up. The use case, though, let me tell you, we make good use of, because we have the E40 song that we can just rock, because we own the commercial right to it so far, so we've been told. And so look, there it is. There's the E40 song, so I didn't see the levels on it. And so, owning the rights to this, to be able to, to share it, I think is really fantastic. And, it's part of, the discussion about media and Web3. And let me bring on one of our correspondents, Kyle. Kyle, are you there? Hello, here I am at this Ultra Lounge later tonight. It will be full of young people trying to seduce me for my wealth. I mean, there's got to be more to life than that. I mean, even you, do you have these needs as a like a metaverse being? Well, it's all I think about, actually. So this is the depravity that is being Web 2.5. Like, I couldn't give a shit about Web 3, but I do like the Web 2 money, and so I'd like to bring them together. And when I do, I feel like I get both the popularity of being the cool guy, as well as the Web 2 money. And well, that's kind of what we think we see with what's going on with probably a label. And so probably a label is a collaboration between OpenSea, Warner Music Group, and Chef Jeremy Fall. And so, no FUD. He's just an entrepreneur, he's a chef, and it's a thing. It's like we find a lot, sort of in Web3, the multidisciplinary appeal of Web3 is like we may be working in a restaurant, but we have a love for music, we have a love for avatars, what have you. And so, the idea though is it sort of struck me because OpenSea did a huge front page. You know, we're talking about front pages, Symbian, you know, on the front page, and we have like this little like scrolling, you know, thing, and it's nice to be there. And thank you very much for the highlight. Even though we don't have that blue check mark, we're still, you know, on the front page, and I think that that's super rad. Now, the front page of OpenSea was dominated a couple days ago by probably a label in a very curated kind of way. And so probably a label was very like present and again, not just present, dominating, because they wanted people to learn about the project. And I tell you, that that page is probably the best place to learn about this project, because there's not much on the website. Slight Mission, they actually updated this last night, because just before it was a very flickery thing meant just for the mint, and so they're catching up post mint. I guess post reveal, it's a bit hard to track this project, but it's just like the 6th apparently was a release, and then I think you got to see sort of last week what it is that you did mint, and you could either be a label manager, label scout, and label head. So these are the 3 layers. I don't think anybody knows what they mean, because there's no real place to distinguish or discern what they mean, other than rarity. And so, you know, and it seemed cool, and you're like, wow, that's great. There's a lot of Web3 integration that probably nothing was able to bring, by way of, again, I raised the point of 10KTF because 10KTF is simply a project that allows other projects to participate in its ecosystem. And so if you have a Bored Ape, if you have a Mutant Ape, if you have an Oni Force, if you have a Ringa now, you're able to, and a Deadheads. So you're able to, I'm like pulling Betty's project like complete blank. But like, you know, there are these projects that you can participate in, and so they allow the participation if you're a holder of something else. So you don't have to necessarily buy their PFP to participate. You just want to get into the thing that they're going to deliver for you. And so in that sense, this is what probably nothing is trying to offer. They're trying to say, hey, if you have I think it was like a Zuki or probably apes, because they're like into everything. All you have to do is just get, you know, 1 or 2, because again, you own the commercial rights, and this is the power of owning commercial rights, and you do own commercial rights with Son as well. That was a poor shill. Don't do that again. But it was just like, you know, these are the things that, you know, we think about sort of in those meetings. And follow me on Twitter at Minty Fresh Vibe for a bit more details on the projects that I'm into, and sort of those thoughts. But in the overall, it's like, you know, probably label wants to be 10KTF by bringing all of these other PFPs onto it, with the lure of, this is the thing, so they're representing themselves as arbiters of culture by just getting a handful. It's like you don't have to have an official collaboration. You don't have to work to get an official collaboration from Zuki or projects where you own your rights. You just have to get a few of them to sign on and say like, oh hey, yeah, I'm going to do this thing with you. Oh cool, okay, great. We have Azuki's on board with us. We have these things on board with us, and so that creates an ability to say and represent to OpenSea and Warner, oh hey, I've got these collections that are going to be available to you, because those collections are the ones with clout in Web 3, and that's what you want. That's what you're missing to get the Web 2 and the Web 3 meeting in the middle here at Web 2.5 with these partnerships. And so Warner and OpenSea, actually, they had done a deal back September 29th. So obviously this deal with Probably Nothing has probably been an ongoing thing. Perhaps a friend or a connection over at Warner with Probably Nothing and Jeremy Fall made that deal happen, and then solidified in a sense and emboldened by an OpenSea deal. And so utilizing resources like the major label with Web3 acumen that we have at Probably Nothing to deliver IP incubator to our holders various drops of big Grammy Award winning musicians that we'll be announcing very, very soon. That's the thing, is like every artist is like, I don't want to be Chris Brown. I don't want to fall on my face in this space. And so they're grabbing onto, whatever they can. Koopa Troopa, please, like help me, just, and so I think that, those types that are sort of the mavens of Web3 NFTs are going to have a huge advantage as Web2 wants to get into the space. They know they need partners because they see the big traditional entities falling on their face. Now, as they're desperately doing that, I think, I'm theorizing that what we actually need is our new artists that are native to this space. And I know that's hard to do and crazy to say, but it's something that, if you follow me on Twitter, you'll find, I'm in the Twitter spaces and we're talking about this consistently. How, I Am Complex and Cro-Magnus and, even people, like, who are they before the advent of NFTs? Like, these artists were great before, but they were vaulted into this space as the space developed, and became it's like every major, it's like, other than Damien Hirst, I feel maybe the exception, because he got really bold and he's an experimental dude, and he did it in a fun, cool way that played with the fact that you could burn your NFT for physical art. And so it really, by the way, it turned out to 50-50 that people wanted at the end of that experiment. Which to choose, and sort of, if it spoke to in a smart way where we were at with physical versus NFT in terms of value, of holding value, store of value. And so it's like, look, Warner has done, the partnership with Sandbox to do the metaverse concerts. To me, that makes a lot of sense of onboarding. And we talk a lot about sort of the heavy lifting that the big entertainment firms and sports have to do to onboard people, because those are the ones that get people through a turnstile, that get people buying, fan gear, and they're going to want to exploit Web3, as they develop, because they understand that there is something here and there is something future-minded. There's something very cost-saving in selling you a digital shirt as opposed to actually manufacturing this fancy shirt like this. And so it becomes, and I say fancy because this is just like a raggedy t-shirt, but like it's very cost effective to do something like this as a business. And so it's very attractive. And it does come down to, as we talk a lot about the channel, aesthetic and style and design, and it gives power, we're hoping, to those creators, to those that have the actual talent. And that's where I think music might have its case here. It's so, we keep seeing big artist after big artist come into the space, early successes just because of the novelty of it. But in a bear market, in an era where we're seeing some of the biggest names in entertainment come and fall flat on their face in this space, there's a lot of trepidation, and they're like, oh gosh, what do I do? Now, given that campaign didn't cost them much, like, it's just like, oh, Chris, do you want me to duplicate that and put it in an NFT? And, we've shown it on the show here before, how easy that is to make something into an NFT. It's not hard. And, to do it at scale, it's not very cost prohibitive, and so it's worth the experiment. But they don't like failing, and the artists themselves don't want to fail in the eyes of people. And so that's something too I thought was interesting. I don't know if this deal is with Warner Records UK, but I felt like that was the deal that that was made here with Warner UK. But it's just like, when you start talking Muse, I get excited. I'm like, amazing, cool. Are they going to be part of this platform? It's yet to be determined. And will that be successful? I think that's what they're trying to do, is they're trying to leverage the fact that you can 10KTF-ish bring in other Web3 names to give them that feeling of foundationalness in Web3. I feel like it's very thin, because those are just a handful of holders. And again, I love the attempt, and again, respect the hustle, no FUD. But it doesn't seem like, you have Yuga behind this, and You just have a couple of apes, you just have a couple of each thing, because we have our rights as holders, and we can come and we can contribute to a platform like this. So I like the attempt here, but it does feel, I have to watch this because I haven't seen this, and there is just really so little about this. The internet's mixtape. So everyone's, new music sucks. I don't know, you can put that in the same area of internet's mixtape. So that's the tough part, is, being able to find the curation. And I think that it's something that, follow me on Twitter is something that, I'm approaching, is to, methodology to do that natively, because I think that that's what this space needs. Is it needs native hits, even if it's like Crypto Boy. Like, I dug that song. I thought it was funny, it was fun, and in that Web3 people were able to contribute to it. That to me says much more about the future of media and the space than some big name coming into the space, Eminem, and making a splash, and then saying like, okay, now love me here because you love me over here, now you got to love me here so that I get paid in crypto and I can avoid taxation in some weird way. And so there's a lot to be said, for these great Web 2 integrations. But I'm out here looking for the ones that are going to make hits in Web 3, and I don't think it's going to be somebody we know their name yet. And so please subscribe to the Notification, and in the comment section, please put down who you think is going to be the next big breakout musical artist in Web 3. I'll see you on the next one.